Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. What is up, everybody? PattySMusic here again today. Today I'm going to be doing an album review of Breaking Benjamin's newest album, Ember. It is finally here and I'm super hyped on it. I've been waiting for this album for a while now. If you cannot tell, I have my Breaking Benjamin Ember shirt on and I'm ready to get into this review. So let's get into it. We're going to go track by track. Starting at the first track, we have Feed the Wolf. First off, before we get started, I want to let you guys know that I was not a big fan of the fact that Breaking Benjamin released 5 singles off their album before the actual album even came out. I thought that it left little to look forward to when the actual album came out, so I was not a big fan of that. One positive from that is that I was able to listen to those singles a lot more than I maybe would have before I reviewed the album, so I can kind of let them grow on me and actually give a more accurate review of it. But anyways, let's get into Feed the Wolf, the first track. Well, the first track off of this album is Lyra, and that's just like a little intro into the second track, which is Feed the Wolf, which is a full song. In my opinion, I thought Lyra and Feed the Wolf should have just been put together, because when I listen to Feed the Wolf, I want that Lyra intro to kind of break it up and add to the song Feed the Wolf. Now, if you haven't heard Feed the Wolf yet, it was the second single release from the band, and I really like it. It's starting to vibe with me really well. When I first listened to it, I was not a big fan. I did an album review smackdown of Feed the Wolf versus The Mountain, and I let The Mountain win. You know, The Mountain by 3 Days Grace. I let that one win. But now, if Feed the Wolf would be combined with Lyra, it would destroy The Mountain. But on its own, like, it just doesn't have enough distinguished parts in the intro, which with Lyra it would. I'm not really a big fan of Lyra and Vega. Like, they don't really add that much to the album, and they really could have just been added on to the beginning of Feed the Wolf and the end of Close Your Eyes. But anyways, I give Feed the Wolf a 4 out of 5. Coming in at the next track, we have Red Cold River. This was the first single released off of Breaking Benjamin's album Ember, and I really like it. It's honestly, when I first heard it, I had a lot of problems with it, and I thought it was a little bit of a middle of the road, like 3.5 out of 5 kind of song, and it's really grown on me. Watching them perform it live has really impacted me greatly, and I just can't get over it. This song is very unique for the band. I think it takes their sound to a different direction. I think it's a very unique tuning as well. It sounds really... This is honestly a weird sounding song. When you first listen to it, it's probably hard to get stuck in your head. It's hard to really get used to it, but Red Cold River is probably one of my favorites off of this album. Being it being the first single released, I thought it was weird when I listened to it, but now it's really grown on me. That's definitely something I'm gonna put on my favorites playlist on Spotify. I give Red Cold River a 4 out of 5. Just the same as Feed the Wolf. Because it's still a good song, and it deserves a 4 out of 5. I originally gave it a 3.5 out of 5, but I think it deserves a 4 out of 5. Coming in at the next track, we have Tourniquet. I think this song has one of the most unique intros in the entire album. The only thing I don't like about this song is probably the hook or chorus of the song. I don't think that the chorus of this song is necessarily very... How do you say... It gets old really fast. That's what I wanted to say about it. The catch of this chorus kind of gets old really fast, though it's still very well done, and I like the instrumentals throughout this entire song. I really like the instrumentals throughout this entire song. The lyrics are not too bad. They have a lot of the word suffocating being repeated, and like in a Breaking Benjamin song, like, of course you have to have the word suffocate or fading, which fading is definitely in this track, I believe. You have to have you have to have crawl in there somewhere, And it's just a myriad of things they've done before lyrically, which really, throughout the entire album, really, characterizes most of the album. You don't really get much lyrically that's new from this album on most of the tracks. There's some tracks I think that have very good lyrics, but generally on this album you don't get much new lyrical content, which is fine, I guess. But in this track, I think the instrumentals really carry it. I'm gonna give this track a 4 out of 5 again. I'm sorry, I'm giving a lot of these 4 out of 5s. There's not much variance, but they're all pretty much the same. Except for this next one, Psycho. This next track, called Psycho, probably my least favorite off of the album. I really appreciate the fact that they had a guitar solo on this track, but I don't appreciate the tuning of it. I feel like if it would have been in different tuning, I might have a little bit of a different opinion on this track. But honestly, this is my least favorite track on the album. It just seems like, compared to all the other songs, it's about the same. And I just don't know what to say about it. I like that they tried to do the guitar solo, but even the guitar solo doesn't really do it for me. So I have to give Psycho a 3.5 out of 5. It's still a good song. It still works with the album, but the intro just doesn't do it for me, and it seems like the intro is a little too simple, in my opinion. It's just darn it. But anyways, if you want to hear my full, more of my thoughts on that, check out my Psycho reaction or review. I've already done a review of that, so go check that out. I'm not going to go too much in depth of that. But yeah, those are my ideas on the track Psycho. Coming in at the 6th track, we have Down. This song in particular reminds me of Defeated off of their last album, Dark Before Dawn. Honestly, I really liked the sound of the verses in this song, but this song does seem like one of the more album filler tracks in the album, to tell you the truth. Now, having the 5 singles released from this album, beforehand, it really kind of helped me get in tune with the sound of the album. And so this song really just resonates with me, and I really like the sound of it. And honestly, I like the lyrics of this one also. Although they seem, like I said, still like some of the same things that Breaking Benjamin has done before, but they kind of work in this song. Anyways, I'll probably give this track a 4 out of 5. You're going to see during this album review that a lot of the tracks are going to be 4 out of 5 because I feel like they're all pretty consistent, except for my favorite tracks. Speaking of favorite tracks, the next track we're going to review is Torn in Two. This has to be one of my favorite tracks off of the entire album, and that is just because this was the most anticipated track probably of the entire album. And does it deliver? I think it does deliver. The only thing that I think Torn in Two really needs is a guitar solo. And I think a lot of the songs in this album need a guitar solo. You could have had a really cool guitar solo on the song Tourniquet. I feel like the distortion or the type of pedal that they used on the guitars in that track would have sounded really cool if you did a guitar solo with that. But most importantly, Torn in Two, it's got a certain part in the song where it kind of builds up and it's really distorted and really ambient, and it just builds up, and then it kind of bursted forth and then went into a guitar solo. It would have made the song way better. It would have made the song longer, which would have been fine with me. The song itself is around 4 minutes, so if the song would have been longer, it wouldn't have been a big deal. Even a 5-minute song from Breaking Benjamin would not have been a big deal for me. The one thing I love about this song, Torn in Two, I absolutely love the chorus. The chorus got stuck in my head before this song was even released. I listened to the 30-second part of it, There's like a 30-second clip before the song was even released. There's a 30-second clip of this song like way before the album was even announced. And it is stuck in my head. The other day, I was just singing it all day, and I hadn't even listened to the entire song. And when I listened to the entire song, I thought the intro sounded a little bit like Blood and Save Yourself, which, when you look at the order of the album, you see that Blood and Save Yourself come after Tourniquet. So I feel like those tracks probably were made off of Tourniquet. So I'm going to say that Tourniquet is the OG killer track on this album. Not my favorite track on the album, but it is probably my second favorite track off of the album. Amazing, very well done. The instrumentals are very well done, and the screaming on this song just blows me away. I also like how it ends on a very strong note, and I like how you have the battling vocals towards the end where he's saying hold on, and you have screaming going on while he's saying hold on. Just another lyric that Breaking Benjamin has to use. They have to use the lyric hold on. It's got to be done in a Breaking Benjamin song. Anyways, I give that bad boy a 4.5 out of 5. That is one of the strongest tracks on this album, I think. Coming to the next track, we have Blood, the third single released off of this album. Oh my gosh. This song is so good. This is probably one of my favorite heaviest tracks off of the album, and I really like it. I really think that it just punches you in the face. I think Tourniquet punches you in the face, but I think this song, Blood, punches you in the face even more. And I think this song was made more to be a heavier version of Tourniquet to some degree. But yeah, I really like the ambience or the feeling of this track, how it creates kind of a hard-hitting but like atmosphere to it, and there aren't really any vocals in here that are nice and falsetto. It's all in your face, and that's what I want from a Breaking Benjamin song. And honestly, this entire album is more of an extreme for Breaking Benjamin. I read an interview, and Benjamin Burnley said that most of the tracks on the album are either super heavy or like super soft. There's never a part in this album where it's in the middle, which kind of disappointed me because there's only one song in this album that was really a soft song, which is The Dark of You, which I skipped. So I'm going to go back to that one. First off, I want to give you my rating on Blood. I think that Blood deserves a 4.5 out of 5. That was one of my favorites off of this album. So let's go back to The Dark of You since I skipped that one. The Dark of You, probably one of the most unique ones off of this album. I honestly was getting Ashes of Eden vibes from this, and I really wanted another song like Ashes of Eden. Honestly, you can't recreate Ashes of Eden. It's a masterpiece in and of itself. I think this song does a good job in trying, though, and I like how it breaks up the album. It's the 6th track, so it's right in the middle of the album, and it really breaks up all of the heaviness that's going on. It features Derek Huff, I think that's the name, one of the guys that was like a fan of Breaking Benjamin, and he was able to be featured on this track. The addition of that, I don't think you can really tell which vocals are Ben's and his. I think maybe he does more of the harmonies on this track. Anyways, The Dark of You is one of the more unique tracks on this album, so I think I would give The Dark of You a 4 out of 5. I really like that one, but it does go a little bit long, and it does get a little repetitive towards the end, but it's got a nice ambience, it's got a nice feeling, and the intro is really well done. Using a piano intro in a Breaking Benjamin song really changes it up from what Breaking Benjamin really does, which is why I like this song. Next track we're going to look into is Save Yourself, and if you've seen my reaction/review of Breaking Benjamin's song Save Yourself, this was the fifth single that they released off of the album, and I absolutely gushed over this song because this is probably my favorite song off of the album. There are a few things I like about this song. One is the structure. I think it's structured very smartly. Some may think that like the structure is kind of formulaic, but I think that it's just structured in a very smart way where you can just kind of get hooked on the song. Another thing I like about it is just that, the hook. The chorus gets stuck in your head very well. I think probably the best hook on this album is Torn in Two, but this chorus is the second best hook. And altogether, this song is my favorite song off of the album. The third thing I like is the distinctive intro. The intro is very different from many things that Breaking Benjamin has already done on this album. I thought Feed the Wolf and Blood had two intros that were kind of similar. And Psycho just, to me, seemed like an intro that just revamped Blood. And since Blood was released before Psycho, I thought, you know, that Psycho just kind of mimicked Blood a little bit, and I didn't like it. But this one, when I listened to it, I thought, okay, Breaking Benjamin, please don't do like some of the same things that you've been doing. And they didn't. They had a nice, distinct intro, which really got stuck in my head, and I couldn't get it out. This song will definitely go on my favorite songs playlist on Spotify when I hook in my headphones and need to listen to something when I'm drawing or doing whatever. But yeah, 5 out of 5 for this track. I know that's a high rating, but 5 out of 5. I love this song. Next, we have the album closer when it comes to full tracks, and we have Close Your Eyes. Now, when you think of Breaking Benjamin songs and you think of what a title could be, Close Your Eyes just seems like, oh, like, obviously that's a Breaking Benjamin song. Like, that seems like something they would do. And when you have a Breaking Benjamin album, you have to have at least one song that tries to sound like Diary of Jane, and this is that song. Now, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say this sounds exactly like Diary of Jane. They're totally copying. But you can hear some elements of Diary of Jane in this song, and the lead guitar that has some riffs in it, I feel like it's the same kind of sound that is in Diary of Jane. And when I first listened to this, I got a little bit of a but it doesn't do that melody, but it kind of starts off with that melody a little bit. Still a super solid track. Honestly, guys, to tell you the truth, I don't think there's a song on this album that I hate. And I think that's due mostly in part to the fact that Breaking Benjamin released 5 singles, and they were able to grow on me before the entire album was released. I still think I could have done that with 2 or 3 songs. But this song just seems like one of the more album filler songs of the album, and I do like the vocals in the song, though. I do like how they are soft and melodic with those hard rocking guitars. Like I said at the beginning, I think Close Your Eyes should have just been attached to Vega, and it should have been one song and had a really extended outro. I think that would have been really good. Because I really, honestly, when I listen to Close Your Eyes, I want to hear that extended outro. I don't want to have to go to the track Vega, the separate track, in order to hear it. Anyways, Close Your Eyes, I'm going to give that one a 3.5 out of 5. Sound a little too much like Diary of Jane, and it's not distinct enough from the rest of the album. Okay, so let's just wrap up what I thought about the entire album. First off, my top 3 tracks from the album, we have Save Yourself, Torn in Two, and Blood. Those are my top 3 favorite tracks off of the album. My top 3 least favorite tracks off of the album. Starting at my 3rd least favorite, we have, let's go, Close Your Eyes. My 2nd least favorite would have to be, this is a hard one. I'd probably say Tourniquet. Don't get me wrong, Tourniquet is a rockin' song, but it's just, when it comes to the entire album, it'd probably have to be Tourniquet. And then my number 1 least favorite song is Psycho. Altogether, I would give this album an 8.5 out of 10. I originally was thinking 9 out of 10, but it's got a few negatives to it. And a few of the negatives, like I said, doing this album review, one of the biggest negatives is probably the lyrics. We've seen these lyrics before, which is fine. You want Breaking Benjamin to be doing what they've been doing all along and not changing too much, but you can put a little bit more variance into the lyrics and not say things like hold on and, just crawl. There's definitely some lyrics that say crawl in this, and, just Breaking Benjamin lyrics that I've heard before. That's definitely one of the biggest negatives from this album. Another big negative from this album is no guitar solos. Well, one guitar solo from Psycho, my least favorite song. Not very many guitar solos, and they should have given Jason Roush a little bit more ability or reason to be there, Jason Roush, the former lead guitarist of Red, honestly one of my favorite songwriters and, guitarists of the rock genre. You should have given him more to do, and, that's one of my negatives from this album. But overall, most of the tracks on this album I vibe with so much, and I absolutely love this album, and it definitely deserves an 8.5 out of 10. Guys, I think in the future I'm going to work on trying to let albums grow on me before I review them, because I don't want to be overly critical, but I don't want to be underly critical as well. There are definitely some problems with this album, but all in all, it is a solid addition to the Breaking Benjamin discography, and it is worth the hype. Well, if you're not already subbed to this channel, hit that sub button for more videos like this coming soon. I do album reviews, I do covers, I do track reviews. I have some of my original songs on here as well, which I would love if you check those out. Also, I'm thinking about doing an album review smackdown of Ember versus Phobia. So if you guys want to see that, comment in the comments below. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later. Peace out.